Now, to give you more specifics about what the governor is actually proposing, a $121.1 billion budget. The 2009-2010 budget would fill a $15.4 billion deficit over 2 years. One of the things being talked about, something that we can talk about very near and dear, 14% hike on college tuition.
Yeah, that's extraordinary. That's going to have dire consequences because it means that you might have an increase in the dropout rate, and at the same time it's going to make college very unaffordable for some people who might otherwise want to be in college.
When you talk about these, these hikes as well as some of the cuts that are going on, a lot of what's been said is, Governor Patterson inherited a lot of stuff, but he's trying to do the best that he can with what he has. Do you get a sense that the governor, with what you've heard thus far, he is really trying to do the best with what he has?
I think he should have given it a little bit more careful thought because for the most part, I believe the policies are kind of rational. I'm not so sure the policies have been considered thoroughly before the proposal is made, because like I said, there are certain things for which we don't want taxes to be imposed on things like tuition, and of course Medicaid is also going to be affected. Education generates positive externalities, and to the best way possible, that is something that should be encouraged. I would imagine the governor might try to figure out alternative ways of raising revenue, because in times of recessions, what you really need is deficit financing.
When you talk about the budget cuts, one of the things we talked about was that tuition hike. We were talking about SUNY, and we were getting the numbers in on SUNY, $620. And then when you talk about, CUNY, you're talking about $600. A huge budget hike, if you will, in the area of students. We want to tell you that also that while we're joined, we're going to, as a matter of fact, just stay with us because we're going to have some sound bites from some people on the street. But some people say $600, $620 doesn't sound like a lot of money. But when you really start to flesh it out, it is an increase.
Well, yeah, depending on the income bracket of the students that we're talking about. For minority students, that will be a substantial increase. For students with wealthy parents, that might not necessarily be a substantial increase. So we have to be careful, and we have to really figure out who are the students who are going to be seriously affected by this hike.
And we want to talk a little bit about those students, because we sent our cameras out into the streets to ask you, some students, as to the proposed tuition hikes if the governor's budget is passed. We wanted to get your sound bites and we'll hear exactly what you had to say. And here's what a few of you had to say about the proposed tuition hikes in the governor's budget.
Well, a $600 increase will affect me because, I'm a low income. I don't have that much money to pay for school. And, school is really important for me.
Most of the students, coming here pay tuition. And I don't think that many students will be, coming back to school, or they probably have a hard time, coming up with the extra money to pay for tuition.
We try to encourage young people to go to school. We don't want to discourage them. I think it would have a very counterproductive effect.
I mean, I work hard to pay tuition as it is, and just increasing tuition, it's really going to affect me and my friends who go to college.
I think a $600 increase in my college tuition will really affect me and a lot of other students because the price of everything is going up except the price of paychecks. If we have to pay more just to go to school and try to better ourselves, I think that they're hitting the wrong people.
I'm so far in debt. I've taken out so much money to finance my education that $600 is sort of a drop in the bucket at this point. So, I wouldn't be that upset about it. It's not like it's thousands of dollars. A couple of hundred, either way, it's not a big deal, I don't think.
It means I have to pay for it. You got to get your education regardless, but it's not right, but I guess it's something they got to do for the economy. I don't agree with that, but what can you do about it?
We saw just a few people giving their comments on the governor's proposed tuition hikes, and there you heard what some of the people had to say. I want to go through some of the other things that the governor's proposing, and I just want to get your take on it, and then we'll move to another subject. But some of the things that the governor's talking about: an iPod tax that charges state and local tax for digitally delivered services, entertainment services. Also, state sales tax at movie theaters, sporting events, taxis, buses, limousines, and cable and satellite television and radio. Then a 50% tax on cigars, high taxes on wine, beer, and flavored malt beverages. You're seeing the information that's being displayed right there on the screen. Also, an 18% tax on non-nutritional drinks like soda. And there's no sales tax break on clothing of $110 or less, only except 2 weeks during a year. When you hear this, in some senses you feel as though the governor is trying to deal with some of the extras or trying to get a little bit extra on the extras that many of us take for granted for day to day.
Well, I think it is punitive in the sense that it is intended to punish people who are interested in entertaining themselves. So it's a way of discouraging people who might otherwise want to go out to have fun or leisure. So it makes it pretty exorbitant for them to have to go about having leisure or having entertainment. So clearly it's trying to discourage certain habits, including drinking soda, which is believed to be loaded with sugar, so that way that people can try to slim down and rather than being obese.
Mm-hmm. Well, I understand the fact that trying to keep somebody healthy, but do you want to tax them so that way if they want to be, are you saying that we need to tax them more for being unhealthy? I mean, I understand that.
I don't think that is a proper policy, or that is going to have the intended effect, because if people want to drink soda, they're going to drink soda anyway. So I don't think that would ultimately achieve the ultimate objective. There are other interventions that can be put in place so that people can alter their behavior in terms of losing weight. So I don't think a tax can ultimately achieve that objective.